Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Lee. I am class of 1994 at the Buffalo Seminary, and I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant working with the school. And I am so excited to be joined by Kate Bowen-Smith, class of 92, and Jen Roberts, also class of 92. And yes, we do remember each other from back then. And we are working together on art. It is Buffalo Seminary's Anti-Racism Task Force. And I'm so excited that you all are able to join me today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Wondering if we can talk a little bit about the purpose of art. Why was a task force formed and what's its purpose?
I'll start off, Jen, if that's okay. We started the task force, which is comprised mostly of board members, as a response in part to our national reckoning with racism, and also in part because while SEM's defining values certainly include diversity, equity, and inclusion, we haven't done enough, and we want to do better.
And I think, one of the things that I'm really happy about and actually proud is that, this was a task force that I hadn't even thought about, and when Kate, the co-chair, asked me to partner with her, I was really touched because a lot of times when you hear about, issues of racism going on, you become a little anesthetized to it and you're like, it's more the same, more the same. But having this task force, which can do actual kinds of things to improve and start the discussion about racism, this was something that touched me. And so I'm really happy to co-chair this, co-chair art with Kate.
That is so awesome. And I think it's really important points that we are in a very unique moment in our nation's history, and realizing that Buffalo Seminary is a part of that. And if we want to give a world-class education to young women, we have to be willing to delve into these issues, talk about it, and even be transformed, right, by what we see happening around us. Jen, you mentioned, just the inception, if you will, of the task force really inspired you. What else inspires you about the possibilities for the task force and for the work at SEM?
I think really having kind of a start to having those uncomfortable discussions, and those uncomfortable discussions and really authentic discussions about race, racism, and all of the ugliness that surrounds it. And hopefully what really gets me, excited about this is that we are really kind of on the brink of moving the needle forward. Seeing that we can have change, change that these young women can see occurring, and be a part of that change. And so that is something that really does excite me because, the things that we're trying to do in terms of having affinity groups, having, just education about the situations is something that I think we haven't done. And having, these discussions, but then also having action, that is the part that I see us doing. And that's what makes me excited.
Agreed, Jen. I think we all have a role here, and it feels good to be able to do something. Mm-hmm. And our task force started work in May or June, I think, and we've been regularly meeting, and I do feel as though we can move the needle. And it's really nice to have Nicole help us on this journey.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm wondering how other alum might be able to help. I mean, when you all reached out to me, I was so honored and also excited to be a part of the process. I have very fond memories and still very real world impacts from the Buffalo Seminary to this day in my current life. And so it's so, I think for me, important to be able to do this work and give back, both, just in the world generally, but also in my own communities. And I bet for a lot of alum, that's a feeling that they share. And so I'm curious, is there ways that alum can help with the task force? How can alum get involved?
I think one of the most important things right now, as we learn where we really need to focus our efforts, is to hear from alum about their experience at SEM and where you think we can do better, we have set up an email address, alumna@buffaloseminary.org. We have an equity and inclusion webpage on Buffalo Seminary's website. Get in touch. Let us know how your experience was. We really do want to hear so that we can learn and do better.
Yeah, and not only just telling us about your experiences at SEM, but how those experiences impacted your life later on, and letting us know how you think that there's things that you may offer for us in terms of how we can move the needle forward. I mean, this is a group that, even though it's a task force, we hope to get your knowledge, your expertise, and your ideals for how we can improve SEM. And it's something that, you know, we hope that this becomes like more of a living organization, so that when Kate and I are, you know, are no longer on the board and there's other people, it will just continuously be more and more input from alumni, young, old, all ages. And so it's really important that it's more of a collaborative type of initiative.
Absolutely. This is long-term work, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Well, Jen and Kate, thank you so much. And I do hope that alum begin to get involved with their experiences and their critiques, but also their ideas. And if there are affirmations, what should we continue to do at the school? I think all of that's going to be very important. So just really encouraging people to reach out. Thank you, the two of you. Looking
Thanks,
forward
Nicole.
to working with you more. Yeah,
Us too.
Thank you, Nicole.